Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every Wednesday morning we go through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video, and one person's question will help me make the thumbnail every single week. Please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video, and if I did comment to you saying great question, I might use this, and I didn't, please drop that same question again and make sure you put repeat question and it will get moved to the top. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. But before we get started, we do have to give thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Grave Before Shave. Yes, I got a beard sponsor. This is basically the only sponsor that I wanted outside of Pokemon. So if you guys are interested in any type of, butters, oils, brushes, anything, they even have a super cool little bundle kit that just comes with basically everything that you need for your beard. And honestly, everything smells so good and it makes your beard so soft. Mrs. Beard absolutely loves when I use this stuff. So definitely check them out. All the links are in the description. And if you use PokeBeard at checkout, you will receive 15% off your entire order. But all right, let's get started. First one is from @Taystar5352. Hello, Beard. As an investment, do you personally think a collection of PC ETBs of every set would do better, or a booster box of every set, factoring space as well as a wall to display to look at? Wish my beard looked as good as yours. Any tips? So for the beard, just let her grow and then make sure, take care of it, oils and all that stuff. It really, really does help keep it healthy. Now for the PC ETBs versus the booster boxes. We're going to take a peek at every single Scarlet and Violet Era set and compare the booster box to the PC ETB. Now, there's a lot of other factors. We're getting new booster boxes with promos. That's definitely going to help the booster boxes a ton. Now, they're not going to be exclusive to the Pokemon Center. And then you also have to think about how 160 is kind of the new base price for booster boxes right now. Everything's coming out at MSRP, which is like 161 or whatever it is on the Pokemon Center website. So you kind of have to take, those things into consideration, but we will start off with base set here for Scarlet and Violet. So the Miraidon, PC ETB market price is 165. The booster box, market price 142. Obviously, the PC ETB wins. Even the Charizard PC ETB at market price 138 is beating the Scarlet and Violet booster box, which was basically $90 to $100 forever, for a super, super long time. Most of these boxes were literally right around 100 to 120 for the longest time. So Paldea Evolved, this was also around $100, but I'm going to say this one hung out around 120, 130 the longest. So here's the Pokemon Center ETB market price 250 compared to the booster box 202. So we got a clear winner for that one for the Pokemon Center ETB for Paldea Evolved. Next, Obsidian Flames market price 266 for the PC ETB. Booster box is at 179. Another clear winner, so we are 3-0 for Pokemon Center ETBs. Next, we got Paradox Rift. Now, the booster box is market price 151, and this thing was easily at $100 for so long, so it's up like $50. Now, the two Pokemon Center ETBs, these don't have the most popular promos, and I do feel like Paradox Rift is a complete sleeper set. But for the PC ETB, the Roaring Moon one market price is at $88. So if you just compare the one PC ETB to the booster box, the booster box is winning, but you got to think, these PC ETBs are only $60 each. So it's pretty close, to be honest. All right, next we have Temporal Forces Pokemon Center ETBs. Here's Walking Wake, market price $108, compared to the booster box, market price $165. Now, let's say this thing was like 110, 120. We're up like $45, $50. And same thing for about the Pokemon Center ETB. But you got to remember, the Pokemon Center ETB is half the price. So you would technically, if you spent the same amount of money on two Pokemon Center ETBs, let's say 120, compared to buying a $120 booster box, you'd be up double compared to this booster box right now. All right, next we have Twilight Masquerade. Booster box 186 and PC ETB 92. You got to think Twilight Masquerade is one of the best performing booster boxes in the entire Scarlet and Violet era. It's definitely one of the shortest printed, and we really haven't gotten a reprint of it. It was never really one of those boxes that sat at $100 either. So I'd say it's up like maybe $50, $60. So the Twilight PC ETB is up like $30, but you got to remember, you can basically buy two PC ETBs for the price of one booster box. But that one's pretty close. Next, we have Stellar Crown. The Pokemon Center ETB is cruising, market price $117, and the booster box is at $163. So you could easily have gotten Stellar Crown for $100 all day long for booster box prices, so it's up $60. Now for the Stellar Crown Pokemon Center ETB, you're also getting about $60 value, but you can buy two for the price of one booster box, so that PC ETB is doing very, very good. All right, last on the list, we have Surging Sparks. Now this is basically the best performing booster box in the entire Scarlet and Violet era. Market price $246. The Pokemon Center ETB market price $149. So the PC ETB is up $90 when you only had to spend $60. And the booster box, you easily could have gotten this booster box for around $100 to $130 on pre-order for a while. Then it started to go crazy. So, I mean, you're almost up $120 on this booster box. But again, you can get 2 PC ETBs for the price of that booster box. So it's pretty clear which product is actually doing better. Now, if I had the choice between 2 Pokemon Center ETBs or 1 booster box for the same price, I am choosing the Pokemon Center ETBs every single time. Especially now, like I said, all the new sets, the market price is going to be around $160, MSRP for these booster boxes. When if you can actually get the pre-order on Pokemon Center website, you're getting these ETBs for $60. Next question is from @SamLeany3681. Hey Beard, just pulled a Flareon Master Ball and sent it to PSA to be graded. How do you think the Prismatic Master Ball / Pokeballs will do long term? Thanks. I don't think the Pokeballs will be worth much at all. They're pretty easy to pull. And it looks like the condition on some of these Master Balls are not the best. I mean, we literally have a PSA 8 Umbreon Master Ball down here, sold for $212. That's a brand new card. We got a PSA 9 Flareon that sold for $100. And we got another 9 Umbreon that sold for $305. We got a PSA 10 Umbreon Master Ball that sold for $1,400. So I think it really depends on if they keep doing Master Balls. If we start getting Master Balls all the time, I have a feeling it's not going to be as special. And they could end up kind of being like baby shinies. Some of them are worth a decent amount, but a lot of them are, $5 or less. And if you look right now, there's a ton of Master Balls that you can pick up for $10 or less. But I definitely feel like the Evolution Master Balls will do very solid. I have a feeling they're going to go up and down, up and down. And then, like I said, it just depends on if we get more Master Balls. Because right now, they feel pretty special because these are the first ever Master Balls for English. Next is from @Gecko Sala Plancha A286. How do you feel about Crown Zenith Moltres promo for a long-term hold and price target a year from now? So I bought a ton of these at like $1. And I love this card. This is the same artist who did the Giratina and the Magikarp. Like right here, 3 months ago, it was $1.32. I want to say I even got mine for like 60 cents or something like that. Near mint, last sold $17.89, $8.50, $19.89, $9.90, $7.78. So I have a feeling this promo is going to do really, really good. And you got to think, the tins aren't even that expensive yet for Crown Zenith. Wait till the tins are $100 a piece. But when you're dealing with promos, I feel like there is kind of a cap to it, like a max that you can get to because you can just go get them in the tin if they're that expensive. So they can never really be worth more than the tin, obviously, because you can just go get a tin and get it and then get packs on top of that. But I could easily see this card being $30, $40 raw, especially just because of the artist, maybe even $50 because of the artist. But all right, next is from @Malone to Michael. What's your opinion on the exclusive Chinese chase cards? Pikachu Captain Alt Art, Collect 151 Pikachu, and the 5th anniversary set. I kind of like them. These would be like the only Chinese cards that I would collect if I did collect them because we just don't get them. That's for a bunch of cards. That's just not for that one Pikachu. But, the Pikachu, the 151 set looks crazy with the Mew in the background. And then they're going to have 4 of them, which is all going to make kind of like a big picture. And that's sweet. That's all for $255. And then, let's see here, another one at $270. They do have Master Balls. They're different than ours and the Japanese, so that's kind of cool. And then like the Captain Pikachu, that's not bad. Not my favorite art, but Mrs. Beard definitely wants it. That's sold for $110, $105, $105. But like I said, these would be the only cards that I would collect in Chinese. It's kind of the same thing that I do with Japanese. I only really collect the cards that we don't get for English because I love English the most. Because I actually, used to play the TCG. I love reading the moves. And that's what I grew up collecting my whole life was English. I hope they come down in price a little bit. I don't really want to spend hundreds of dollars on them, but especially, they're technically just illustration rares or art rares, non-textured cards. But they have a pretty tough pull rate. I think it's at 1% on the box. And I almost want to pick up a few of those 151 Chinese boxes. All right, next is from @Soda Cards, Hidden Fates, Charizard, or Surging Pikachu. That's tough. So I actually like the Surging Pikachu. A lot of people don't. And this Charizard GX is sick for Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates was crazy popular when it came out. Like super, super, super popular. And now we're dealing with alternate art still, but this card is going crazy. I'm going to put it on my next Market Monday. It was $381 a year ago. Got up to $450, down to $421, and it's coming up right now at $495. Last sold, we got to check here, see if we have any sales over 500. 550, 495, 445, 600, 600, 600. But remember, we are in a boom right now, so everything's kind of moving up. I could see this card coming down pretty hard in the future. I also don't like that it's blue. That always bugged me, the blue outline. It makes it look like a blue Charizard. I actually like the shiny Charizard V much better because it actually is solid black with red. This one looks blue with red. Now the Pikachu, you know, this card's kind of going up and down, up and down. Last sold 460, 450, 509. I could definitely see this Pikachu coming down in price too, though. Once the market cools off, we got a bunch of new sets coming up that are probably going to have a lot better cards than this Pikachu. I could see this Pikachu coming down to $200, $250, you know, something like that. So it's honestly a toss-up. The only thing that makes me think that Pikachu is slightly better is that, you know, it came out at a time when Pokemon is crazy, crazy popular. Basically the most popular it's ever been, and the most people and the most eyes on it. So a lot more people probably know about this Pikachu card compared to the Hidden Fates one, even though, like I said, Hidden Fates was crazy popular, but that was years ago now. All these newer people probably don't even know what's really in Hidden Fates, and if it doesn't have illustration rares or alternate arts, they probably don't care. But yeah, it's kind of a toss-up. And there are a ton of people that say that they do not like this Pikachu and the crown and stuff, so you do have to keep that in mind. I haven't really heard too many people complain about the Charizard from Hidden Fates besides myself of it being blue, but that's about it. Next is from @OSBOS1. Do you see sleeve packs to complete art set of particular sets being a move for potential growth? They're kind of hard to display, but they are cool if you get the art set. Thanks. So they just move last. You know, they take a while to catch up. It's going to go booster box, ETB, then the sleeve boosters will kind of follow. But you can get the full art set for Evolving Skies for around $100. You got to think it costs you around $20 to get the art set. You know, so you're up about $80 compared to an ETB. Costs you around $40, and that ETB is at like $250 right now. So the ETB is technically winning, but the sleeve boosters, you know, they do great, especially if you're on a budget. It is totally fine. I did that for the longest time. I have a ton of team up sleeve boosters because that's honestly all I could afford at the time. You know, I could just grab a few, put them away, and, you know, that's all I could get. So that is totally okay. Next is from Andy D3921, a member. Beard, I think I found a hidden gem in plain sight. Why oh why is the Umbreon Obsidian Flame stamped reverse holo promo tanking? Minus 67% in the past year per TCG player. Is this worth hopping on? 5 to 10 copies? Shouldn't this go back up? So we'll take a little peek. You got to remember, we're dealing with alternate arts and special illustration rares now, to where the amount of people that are collecting, you know, these stamped promos is so small compared to everything else. And I'm feeling that's why it, you know, came down in price so hard. So it was $49, now last sold $15. Someone got 18 of them at $15.20. So people are definitely stocking up on some of these. You know, maybe if it gets a little bit cheaper, I might grab some. But like I said, I wouldn't go super crazy just because, you know, these can be kind of hard to move too. I do love that art and that Umbreon. And if you guys did not notice, I have a life-size Umbreon behind me now. Super stoked about that. Next is from @DBaker2025. Hey Beard, love the vids. Recently got my Mewtwo V-Star GG44 in a PSA 10. With the boom of Crown Zenith, do you think this card is a long-term hold for my collection as well as any other Crown Zenith cards? Thanks. So the thing about Crown Zenith is it has pretty easy pull rates. So I have a feeling a lot of cards in Crown Zenith will shoot up and then come back down and shoot up and come back down compared to like Sword and Shield alternate arts or even some special illustration rares because the pull rates, like I said, were pretty easy. So this card was so cheap. I mean, a PSA 10 was around $100, got up to $170, back down to $150, and now it's right around $300 for this card. So I think the art's crazy, and it does go with the promo, which is absolutely going up in price. But you got to remember, cards and sealed is a completely different ballgame. Most sealed usually, you know, slowly goes up, levels out a little bit, might come down a hair or two, but then it will just keep slowly rising. When cards constantly go up and down, up and down, up and down. Because if you can go back and check, and there's so many cards from the past generations that are beautiful arts, you know, pretty tough to pull, that just are not that expensive. You know, they have their big spikes, but, you know, besides a few, obviously, like Latios and stuff and Moonbreon. But yeah, I have a feeling Crown Zenith cards will just keep going up and down, up and down. You know, same with Trainer Gallery cards too. You know, they're really, really easy to pull. So a lot of those cards will always go up and down, depending on the market. Next is from @SunCunnier8200. What is a good set to start with for Sword and Shield? I like the Sword and Shield artworks more than Scarlet and Violet, but I'm not sure exactly what sets are worth it currently. Definitely, if you're trying to open boxes, Crown Zenith is honestly one of the most fun sets you will ever open. So I think somebody else asked me too what booster box they should open for Valentine's Day. And there's nothing more disappointing than opening a booster box where you don't get anything. to where Crown Zenith, a lot of products are still not that expensive. I mean, you can still get the Galarian Moltres tin for like 40 something dollars and get that $10, $15 promo in there and get 5 Crown Zenith packs. So there's still a lot of very affordable Crown Zenith items that you could get. Next is from @Unca What do you think of the Terrestrial Festival Eevee Heart SIR will do in the future? I pulled 2. This is going to be a promo for us, and usually on the Japanese side, whatever we get as a promo and they have to pull it, that card usually does pretty solid. So I think that's a decent hold. Next is from a member @MarkFrost100. Hey Beard, quick question. Ignoring value, which products make you smile? So if we're talking products, I mean, honestly, what makes me smile the most is cards. A raw card in my hand, out of the sleeve, makes me the absolute happiest. But booster boxes, you know, like I said, I was seriously on a budget for the longest time where I could not even dream about affording a booster box. So when I first started getting booster boxes, like it was just crazy to me. So I love a really, really good booster box. But now with those Pokemon Center ETBs too, you know, I'm loving those also. But I just have like a lot of nostalgia for booster boxes because wasn't able to open a ton as a kid. I was always only able to get a few packs and then buy singles. Next is from @Joello661. Hey Beard, how many different items of each set do you recommend keeping sealed for long-term investment? And how many do you keep sealed in which items? Appreciate the ongoing great content. So I like to keep at least 4 or 5 of each product. Now the reason why is, let's say if I have 5 booster boxes of Surging Sparks. So I can sell one in 2 to 5 years, depending on the market and everything. And then I could use that money to reinvest or do whatever. So my plan is to sell one of each of my sealed products in 3 to 5 years so I can get a nicer house, bigger house, to where I can keep this one still as a rental property. Then you have, you know, at least 3 or 4 more to where, let's say when you're 50 or 60, you know, you can actually go sell 2 or 3 of them to retire. And then you have another 1 or 2 that you can keep long-term to pass on to your kids. So that's why I like to get at least 4 or 5, because I'm telling you, if you just have 1 or 2, if you're anything like me at all, you're probably not going to want to sell it. You're going to get attached to it, and you know, you'll never get a profit from it. You'll pass it down to your kids probably, and then they'll profit, but you might as well at least try to make a profit and pass it down to your kids too. So I always try to get at least 4, and it could be for any budget. If you're getting the sleeve boosters, get at least 4 sleeve boosters or booster bundles or ETBs or whatever it is. You know, if you got the money, you know, crazy money, me personally, if I had that much money, I'd be getting like 4 or 5 booster box cases of every set and 4 or 5 Pokemon Center ETB cases. Of course, now you can't really do that because the market is so crazy, but 6 months ago or a year ago, you could do that all day, every day, and nobody would ever care because the market wasn't hot. Next is from @SnickelFritz. Absolutely love that name. Hey Beard, I've noticed Japanese singles, slabs, and sealed are sometimes harder to sell. When and where would you recommend selling? Thank you. So yeah, Japanese is definitely tougher to sell than people think, especially if you're at a table and someone has English and Japanese. They're going to choose the English pretty much every time. You know, there's not that many people that only collect Japanese. Like there's a few creators that do that I know. And then, you know, of course, there's going to be some people out there, but a lot of people are going to choose English over Japanese. So your best bet is honestly like eBay auctions and stuff and just let it go, because there are Japanese collectors that will always scoop those up for a good deal. And you never know, you might get a few, you might get a bidding war, but it's kind of tough. I've also tried to sell a lot of Japanese. Right now, though, the Japanese market is increasing. So maybe wait a little bit longer. It might be a little bit easier to sell. But it is picking up just because the English market is so wild. Next is from @JerryZardOSRS8657. Thanks for answering my question. Got one for your personal. What are your top 3 most precious sealed items you would sell last? If you really, really had to sell your collection, thanks for the content. So that's a tough one. Probably, well, I have a Shadowless base set pack that I've had as a kid. So I've had that basically my whole life. So I would definitely sell that last. Now I have a couple black and white booster boxes that were like my first ever booster boxes. Those are pretty special to me too. A couple of my theme decks, which aren't even very expensive. They're like $100, $150. I absolutely love. And one of them I've had as a kid also. So probably be that one too. The stuff that's just super nostalgic to me. Next is from @StraightNashtyGaming466. Hey Beard, why do you think Ho-Oh hasn't gotten any IR, SR love? I don't know, it's driving me nuts. It better happen soon. It's absolutely ridiculous that we have not gotten anything Ho-Oh. Next is from @TheU131. Hey Beard, if Lily's Clefairy and these other trainer Pokemon came out in like Silver Tempest or a Trainer Gallery set, How expensive do you think they would be? I personally think the Clefairy would be about $9, but as it's 2025, it'll likely be over 200. So you have to remember trainer gallery cards, they're a subset. They're super easy to pull. Now, if the trainer gallery cards were harder to pull than, like, let's say the alternate arts for Silver Tempest, the trainer gallery cards would be way more expensive. So I've seen a lot of people compare trainer gallery cards to these new cards, but you got to think these new cards are so much rarer and so much tougher to pull, and you don't get nearly as many. But I do agree, you know, they're basically the same card. They're just, you know, a different rarity and, like I said, harder to pull. So they should definitely be worth a little more. Next is from your boy Daryl. Hey Beard, still haven't sold my PC ETB, but would you be open to a collection tour of your room? You have lots of cool stuff that I'm sure has great stories behind it. Yeah, I'm going to do that soon. I was waiting for a few things like the Umbreon and stuff. And a lot of my stuff, though, is in storage. I'm very OCD and I like to keep things pretty organized. So I don't really have a ton of stuff here. Like, I even keep my rarest cards in storage because I have a problem. Like, if I have my first edition base set here, I literally take the cards out of the sleeves and I'm always, you know, looking at the hollows and feeling them and stuff. So I just try to keep those away. So that way, when I do go to the storage unit, it is such an awesome treat. And then most of my sealed products are in storage. I really only keep what I get. And then when I go to storage, I usually fill up a tote or two. You know, I make sure it's all perfectly neat and then I bring that to storage. But what I think I'm going to do is do a video and show what I have in here. And then I'm not going to bring anything to storage for like 6 months or a year and see how much we can actually accumulate in the room. But I think that'd be pretty fun, just kind of see how much the collection actually grows. But yeah, I'll definitely do that soon. It'll be on a Sunday video. And I do have another idea, possibly for a monthly Sunday series. Please let me know down below what you think. What do you guys think of a market day where we only cover graded cards? Like PSA, we'll check out even some CGC, some BGS, some tag cards, you know, a ton of PSA because that's what most people collect. But I think that'd be kind of fun because, especially right now with my Market Mondays, I don't even have any space to really add any graded cards. So let me know down below if you guys like that idea. Next is from @JGoosey. Hey Beard, I have a bunch of the Tyranitar V Striker tins got for under MSRP. Opened some up and they have Evolving Skies. Do you think it would be worth it to sell the loose packs and roll that money into something like an Evolving Skies ETB? Definitely. Anytime you can, you know, upgrade like that, you know, get rid of the loose packs and upgrade to an ETB, I think that is totally fine. You could also even maybe, you know, invest it into some Prismatic Evolutions if you can find that for MSRP. So that way, you know, you are getting the profit actually, and then getting another product at MSRP or cheaper instead of spending $300 on a Evolving Skies ETB. But still, not bad at all. And Evolving Skies is better than Prismatic Evolutions. Hey Beard, what's the best way to go about grading? Can you send a bunch of cards at one time, or is it better to only send a couple? Have a good amount of duplicates that I need something to do with. Appreciate all the help as always. I just send them all at once, to be honest. I'm too lazy to sit and send them in little groups. And I've had pretty good luck. You know, just really double check your cards, wipe them off if they're dirty, fingerprints, anything like that. Just be extra thorough. Next is from @Sultan of Sauce. Mr. Beard, I have a sealed case of PRDOUCTS Rift PC ETBs, Roaring Moon. I'm trying to sell it to buy some different sealed, but it's been hard to find a buyer. Am I better off just waiting to sell? I agree with you that PRDOUCTS is super underrated. So if you're having trouble selling it, you might as well hold on to a little bit, wait for PRDOUCTS Rift to have its little spike. The booster box is moving right now. The PC ETB should follow next. So I'd probably just hold off a little bit longer. Next is from @Jesse Martinez 367. I have 20 booster bundles pre-ordered for Prismatic. If they come as sealed cases, should I part with one and put it into Team Rocket and store the other? I doubt they're going to come as sealed cases, but you know, you never know. Depends on who you ordered it from. But you got to think, you already have really good products of one of the best sets, or if not the best set so far for the Scarlet and Violet era. You know, you have some very, very solid products. Now, if you're on a budget, of course, then yes, you could definitely sell off a few of them to invest into Team Rocket. That is totally okay. But if you're not on a budget, you know, and you can easily afford these 20 booster bundles and can afford some Team Rocket, I would just hold on to the booster bundles, to be honest. You got to remember, you know, we're long-term investing, so it's like 3 to 5 years before normally the stuff really moves. Of course, this market's kind of crazy right now, so there is a chance some of this stuff does come down in price, but it will eventually go back up in price. And last question is from @NickG247. Hi Beard, with the market booming currently, how do you think about where to sell your high-value items without taking a hit on fees and new 2025 lower tax threshold? Graded cards worth 1K versus 10K, high-value graded versus high-value sealed, etc. Appreciate the content, keep it up. So if you're trying to avoid fees altogether, you're probably going to want to try to sell it locally, which is probably the most annoying But Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, you're going to get a ton of lowballs, but you never know. You might eventually find that solid buyer to where you're getting super close to like market for everything. Because you got to think LGSs, they got to take a cut. You go to a card show, they're going to take a cut. You know, they're paying 70 to 80%. Most people, if they're collectors, you know, they're willing to pay a little bit more closer to market, or maybe even a little bit under, because that's technically a good deal for them and what they're buying. It is definitely tough to avoid the fees, that is for sure. But all right, that was today's Pokemon What If Wednesday. If you guys do have any questions, please drop them down below, like I said. And then, of course, if you guys like this content, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. Leaving a like and comment helps the most, and I comment back to every single person. You know, I try at least. It might take me up to a week. And then, two, if you guys want to support more, you can now join my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. Or you can hop over to my Instagram and give me a follow there. I'm always posting when stuff comes back in stock and, you know, stuff from my personal collection. So definitely check that out. And then if you guys want to watch my last Pokemon Market Monday, which was a crazy one, I had the max pages open on my laptop, like 75 pages. Click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.